Buying a luxury yacht for $4 million is, for many people, pure financial suicide. It is believed that such a yacht is a bottomless pit, consuming 15% of its value each year. This means that by buying a boat, you agree to lose $500,000 every year. Today I am here to prove to you that it is one big and complete nonsense. I will show you how smart investors turn a yacht into a perfectly oiled, amazing money-making machine. A machine that not only pays for itself but generates $300,000 in net operating profit annually. We will do this using the example of the outstanding 22-meter yacht Ferretti Yachts 720 and compare two gigantic markets. Today we will compare the European Côte d'Azur with the extremely popular American Miami. You will find out what the exact market salaries for the crew, insurance, and technical costs of the engines are. But most importantly, I will reveal to you the powerful, brutal legal traps through which novices lose entire fortunes. And if you stay until the end, you will find a surprise in the description below the video, a free charter income analysis. You will find there my original 14-week financial simulation broken down to the last dollar. Why did we choose the Ferretti model, which is 22 meters long, for our investment calculations? In this business, length is of fundamental importance and 22 meters is the absolute market sweet spot. On the lower deck, we have 4 brilliant cabins that can accommodate 8 guests in luxury. But most importantly for business, we only need 2 crew members for the full commercial operation of this yacht. We only need an experienced captain and 1 flight attendant who plays a hybrid role in the industry. It helps not only the guests inside but also works as a deckhand when throwing the lines. This optimization drastically cuts our annual payroll fund, protecting your hard-earned money. To ensure our model is fully secure, we assume that we will rent a yacht for 14 weeks in the season. The verified hard market rate for this specific model is $49,000 for a week of rental. Multiplying this by 14 weeks, we get almost $700,000 in gross revenue. Sounds beautiful, doesn't it? But beware, such powerful luxury is not sold through simple mass-free applications. We entrust our yacht to exclusive brokerage agencies operating on standardized MIB and IYBA contracts. The system agency charges a 20% commission, so we are left with almost $550,000. And at this point you might think, wait, these enormous engines burn 360 liters of oil per hour. What about the costs of monstrous burning? What about the expensive wine, food, and fees in the ports? Here enters probably the most important mechanism in the industry, which is your shield, the so-called APA, that is Advanced Provisioning Allowance. The yacht owner is completely uninterested in these gigantic variable operating costs. The client pays an additional 30 to 40% of the total charter value in advance before boarding. The captain manages this money. It is precisely from them that every drop of burned oil and food is paid for. If a guest wants to sail quickly from dawn to dusk, they pay for it only out of their own pocket. As owners, you are completely insulated from fluctuations in oil prices, and your income is 100% secure. Soon we have revenues. Let's delve into the most dangerous zone. Let's break down the fixed cost into their components. We will build it on ruthless mathematics in 4 pillars, and in each we will compare France with Florida. First pillar, marinas. Ship owners often overpay for show-off locations in the center of Cannes or Miami. We are smarter. In France, we are placing the yacht in a great optimized base in Mandelieu. The annual optimized contract costs us here only 28,500 euros gross. In Miami, we avoid gouging in short-term pots. We are signing a smart, safe, long-term contract. This closes our annual parking cost in Florida at around $25,000. Second pillar, employee costs. This is exactly where the vast majority of companies burn through their entire budget. It is an absolute financial mistake to keep the crew on full salary throughout the entire dead winter period. How do we do it correctly? In France, we are signing only a highly profitable 5-month seasonal contract. The market salary of a yacht captain for up to 30 meters in France in the year 2026 ranges from 5,600 to 9,600 euros. We are contracting an excellent proven specialist for the whole summer for around 6,000 euros per month. On the other hand, a versatile stewardess performing a hybrid role as a deckhand earns between 1,800 to 3,000 euros per month in Europe. We pay her about 3,200 euros a month, guaranteeing the highest possible level of service for our guests. Adding provisioning and logistics in France, a 5-month season will cost us only 55,000 euros in total. And how does it look in the States? The American labor market for sailors is much more expensive. The captain of such a yacht in Florida expects a salary of $8,000 to even $16,000 a month. There is often a use of outstanding freelancers here who are paid from $400 to $450 per day of work. The cost of a stewardess in the Florida market is around $250 for each intensive charter workday. Counting 14 weeks of sailing and days for preparation, we will spend a total of $70,000 in Miami for the crew. The third pillar is service. The Ferretti Yacht 1720 model features extremely advanced engines from the company MAN. These engines require absolutely rigorous technical inspections exactly every 500 hours of operation. We also need to annually pull the boat out of the water for bottom painting with anti-fouling and necessary anode replacement. The optimized shipyard budget is about 57,000 euros in France and $65,000 in the United States. Fourth pillar, insurance. This is the amazing moment when both of these markets drastically diverge. In the calm, safe Mediterranean Sea, a powerful policy guaranteeing a payout of 3.5 million euros. It costs us about 48,000 euros per year in the commercial variant with the best insurers. But Miami is another planet. Florida is a brutal zone of powerful annual hurricanes that destroy equipment. The insurer's risk is so great that you will pay here from 1.5% to even 5% of the value of the ship. The policy in Miami will cost you $85,000 and the insurer will enforce a strict yacht evacuation plan before the storm. Let's summarize this. The optimized total cost of maintenance in France is 200,000 euros and in the USA it is $260,000. Subtracting this from the revenues, you are left with 345,000 euros in France and $290,000 in Florida. The numbers look absolutely insane, right? And now pay attention. We are changing the tone because we are entering a real minefield. You absolutely won't find out about this from any amateur, flashy video by other YouTubers. Investors seem to think that they will buy a yacht in Europe, sell to Miami, and simply start making money. For that one mistake, people lose their companies day by day, receive penalties, and end up in court. The American market is protected by the Jones Act. In the United States, absolute federal law applies. It categorically prohibits the commercial transportation of passengers for profit by ships that were not manufactured in America. And I remind you, our brilliant exemplary yacht, Ferretti Yachts 720, is of course a native Italian. How do people bypass this? They use what's called a bareboat charter, allegedly renting the yacht itself without a crew. According to this law, the client should find and pay for their own crew for the duration of the charter. But if the Coast Guard proves that you imposed your friendly captain on the client from above to protect the boat, from a legal point of view, the transaction is illegal. It threatens even the complete confiscation of the yacht. The only certain and legal way out is to submit an application to the government for a special exemption known as the MARAD waiver. This application costs only $500, but unfortunately it has a built-in brutal logistical catch. A yacht with such an exemption has a strict non-negotiable prohibition on carrying more than 12 passengers on board. This means the absolute end of dreams about organizing powerful, lucrative events for 30 people in Miami. But let's not say that Florida only punishes. They have a wonderful shield there, the so-called tax cap. The state sales tax for all yachts has been permanently capped at the amount of $18,000. When buying a yacht for $4 million, you do not pay $250,000 in tax. You pay as much as for a mid-range car. It's a huge saving to start with. And what does this minefield look like in Europe on the French Riviera? In Europe, the toughest market opponent and profit killer is the powerful 20% VAT. France also offers the wonderful FCE commercial status, which allows this tax to be completely and legally eliminated. You are then exempt from paying VAT on fuel purchases and even on gigantic shipbuilding services. But the French state demands in return the fulfillment of one absolutely unconditional principle. It is called the 70% rule. Throughout the entire year, up to 70% of your commercial voyages must leave French territorial waters. You can't just be spinning around with clients at the local beach in the center of Cannes. The French Customs Office is not made up of amateurs. They are checking your exact positions using government satellite logs. If it turns out that you have violated this parity, the office will unconditionally revoke your status in the new year. You will then receive a penalty, a retroactive payment order of 20% VAT on the total current value of your entire yacht. Imagine suddenly receiving a bill for 700,000 euros. I know fleets that completely went bankrupt because of this. As you can see, owning your own motor yacht is absolutely not and never has to be a bottomless pit. It is a measurable, predictable, and extremely profitable business that, however, requires perfect ironclad operational calculation. It requires hiring the right optimized seasonal crew, collaborating with professional brokers, and wisely managing expensive marinas. But above all, it requires tax awareness. If this huge array of complicated numbers overwhelms you, don't worry. I did all this incredibly difficult mathematical work for you. Click the link below this video. You will find my free PDF file with a complete professional simulation of return on investment for 14 weeks there. You will see month by month each paid lease installment, crew fees, and every euro earned for you. Download this sheet, analyze the numbers at home, and subscribe so you don't miss the next expert analysis. Be sure to write in the comments below. Which market for earning do you prefer, Azure Coast or Miami? If you want to learn more about how to earn money from yacht charters, feel free to contact me directly. And if you want to have an access to additional videos, click join below and start subscription support. It helps a lot for that channel. See you on the water and on Tuesday live episode.